G'day, wonderful listeners. This is episode 38 of Trev's Talk, and I'm your host, Trev. Last week, I left off suggesting a way listeners might try to receive hints or clues from the spiritual world. When you get GBs, my word for goosebumps, try to think of what triggered them. If you were in conversation with someone, what words do you think set the GBs off? Then see if those words had a meaning for you. You may not realise the meaning straight away, so write them down, and in the next day or two, you might come up with something that makes you recall the words triggered by your GBs, and by that, you might be able to make a connection and understand it as a hint or clue. You might get GBs at the words of a song, like I told you in episode 37, or at words you hear on TV, or someone talking to you, or to someone you overhear near you in a shop. Anyway, just keep this in mind and be alert. This is just something you might try if you get GBs. Now that I've told you to be on the alert, if the spiritual world wants to give you hints or clues, then the spiritual world knows that I have given you this knowledge, and so may start to try and contact you through GBs. You could also write down your dreams. If you have a dream that stands out to you in some way, especially if you have a dream and wake up suddenly with it sharp in your mind, if it sort of impresses itself on you. If that happens, write it down straight away, because if you don't, it loses its sharpness. It fades away. I recommend you start a journal and write down briefly what goes on in your life. And if you get GBs or dream clues, write them into your journal. Later on, things may happen in your life that remind you of what you wrote down previously in GBs or dream hints or clues. Then see if that guides you into doing something good. A couple of weeks ago, my listener friend Lauren in America queried me on my progress with my pilot license medical clearance. It had been 20 weeks since I lodged my reconsider application with CASA, the Aviation Authority, and 1 full year since my first medical exam with the CASA doctor. I gave you a good account of how the medical clearance was progressing back in episode 33. So if you have not been following these episodes from the start, you might go back and check them out. Then the episodes will make more sense as they follow one another in sequence. Anyway, I took Lauren's advice and rang CASA to query the long delay to find out, to my dismay, that they had not received my online reconsider application at all. I had lost all those weeks due to their online website computer malfunction. Just imagine my disgust and frustration. When I contacted CASA, they were more concerned with whether I had paid their fee of $150 with my application for reconsideration than whether their online system had caused me to lose months of precious time. The CASA employee, after several emails back and forth, said I could go back to the online application on my computer and copy the questions and my original answers to a Word document and send that in to her at CASA as an attachment to an email. She would then have that Word document processed as my reconsider application and mark it priority. I was left wondering whether this new Word document application would take 10 to 12 weeks more, as was the stuffed up online one which malfunctioned. Don't forget, this whole schmozzle has gone on now for more than a full year, and it is still not completed. I am very grateful to my listener friend Lauren in America for prodding me into ringing CASA to query the progress of the medical clearance. I would probably have gone a few more weeks waiting, as I fully expected to wait for long periods when dealing with the bureaucracy. I pray for the illumination of conscience promised at Medjugorje and spoken about in my episode 33. When that promise comes, all workers will be made more honest, and they will tend to give a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. The so-called government stroke should disappear. The Medjugorje Centre work goes on and tries always for openness and transparency. Last year, after the annual general meeting, our auditor, Andy, of 7 years' service, retired due age-related issues, and I was left wondering where I might find another auditor willing to do pro bono auditing for us. When I was founding the charity years ago, I did not know high-profile people in business, law or accounting to come on board the charity as board members or committee members. I had to reach out to people I knew, and not many wanted to come on the board, so I had to rely on family members rallying around me and filling some of the positions on the board of management. As the Medjugorje Centre Board of Management is heavily weighted with my family members, I believe it prudent, not compulsory, but prudent, to have the books properly audited at the end of each financial year. I am proud to say that I have been successful since the very beginning of the Medjugorje Centre to have had the books professionally audited. The auditing has been done pro bono each year, and now that Andy has retired, I have been successful in procuring a new auditor in Phil, a retired accountant who happens to volunteer with the charity on some evenings, delivering meals to struggling Aboriginal families. I am very grateful that he is doing this work on a pro bono basis. I've been pushing forward with the Mudit Scholarship Fund project, where I have been able to do so. We have opened a separate bank account for it and earmarked to it the generous donation received from the anonymous donor I spoke about in episodes 9 and 11. Even though that anonymous donor stipulated that I be the distributor of his donation at my discretion, I have arranged for all Medjugorje Centre members present at the AGM just gone to send me an email granting me permission to start using those funds to pay expenses incurred by the Scholarship Fund. Those permission emails are now on file. We have a website designer working on a new website with a temporary page for the Scholarship Fund designed for showing to the prospective founders, Muslim, Jew and Christian. We can show each founder the website page with their photo at top of page as original founders of the fund. I will also approach Award Signs, the signage company, to give me mock-up design pictures of how our minibus would look with Muslim community, Jewish community and Christian community displayed on its sides. I will have pictures of that website page and pictures of the minibus displaying their community on my phone so I can show them to each prospective founder when meeting with them. They will see how things will look once they have committed to founding the fund. I seem to be held back with efforts so far to meet with Muslim and Jewish leaders to pitch to them the invitation and offer to found the fund. The feelers I put out to Senator Fatima and Medina of the Mosque have not borne fruit so far, so I've decided to just wait for a while longer regarding them and submit a media release to the ABC to see if they are interested in a story. I can frame a story around the Medjugorje phenomenon, how it changed my life, and how my life is being led to counter Islamophobia and anti-Semitism by uniting Muslims, Jews and Christians on a joint project which will greatly alleviate social injustice by educating Aboriginal youth. If I can get an ABC reporter or producer to listen to me for a few minutes, I'm sure I can convince them that I have a story of great public interest and worth putting out there into the world. Such a story would help me meet with the Muslim and Jewish leaders to interest them in founding the Scholarship Fund. Well, wonderful listeners, once again, we've come to the end of an episode. Please subscribe, like, share and comment if you will. Help me to expand my reach with this podcast. This is Trev, tuning out for this week.